Alright, hello everybody out there in YouTube land. My name is Adam Veazey. I'm PC Cleric with PC Cleric Computers and Games. I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons since about 84, 85, 1984, 1985 to be specific. I was watching one of Professor Dungeon Master's videos about a couple weeks ago, and he was asking the question, when did D&D change? Da, 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 da. Now, this is Professor Dungeon Master. This is a guy that wants to abstract so much stuff out of the game that it makes the game not the game. Pretty much he's going to abstract so much stuff out of it that everybody's going to show up to the game, roll a d6. If you roll a 5 or 6, hey, you win. If you don't, well, you don't, and everybody can go home. But I would like to answer this question about, when did Dungeons and Dragons change? When did it change from just good old dungeon bashing to something else? And then that caused other ripple effects throughout the different editions of the game that we see. I think, in my opinion, and I know people are going to be triggered by this, and I'm going to hear the wailing and gnashing of teeth, and they're going to cry, and they're going to leave all types of negative comments, thumbs down the video, and everything like that. Probably have to go see their therapist, too. But I think Dungeons & Dragons started to go downhill when this came out. Dragonlance. Now, everybody loves the Dragonlance novels. I like the Dragonlance novels. Okay? But here's what they did to Dungeons and Dragons. They made the player characters so integral to the plot of the game that the player characters cannot die. Okay? And without the concept of character death, you do not have a game. Without the possibility of going bankrupt in Monopoly, you do not have a game. The process of what other things can we come up with like standard gaming here, board gaming or whatever. But if characters have no, if the threat of death is not looming over the player characters, you have no player urgency, you have no game, you basically have no adventure. You're just playing you're playing Mad Libs with your player characters is what you're doing. Give me a verb, give me an adverb, give me a noun, give me this, give me this, give me that, and then you all find your funny little story at the end, right? So Dragonlance started this because what if Raistlin, who's one of my favorite characters in the books, I think a lot of people would agree with that. What if Raistlin were to die in the first encounter in the first book? What would happen with the rest of the story? Or if one of the other major characters were to die. I think one's called Moonbeam or Moonleaf or something like that. It's been a while since I've even read these. I don't know. Do they? Here they are right here. It is Goldmoon. That's it. I know it's Moon something or other. What if Goldmoon died? Right? Because nobody else can touch the staff but Goldmoon. Then what do you have for a story? Right? Not much. But story and D&D are separate, and it wasn't until the Thespians got involved in D&D that the concept of character death was removed, which I think is a mistake, which leads us to 5th edition, where your characters have 15 death saves before they actually die, if they actually die, right? And if you go down to 0 hit points, you don't really die, you're unconscious. You go down to negative 10 hit points, you're dead. But the DM's going to try to fudge every living thing they can to where you don't die, which is wrong. Wrong. The first concept that we must remove for Dungeons and Dragons is that your characters are not heroes. Your characters are basically plunderers. They are adventurers. They are not heroes. At least not yet. If they can scratch and claw their way up to a certain level, then they become heroes, but even then they might not be heroes in the heroic sense of a movie, which Dungeons & Dragons is not a movie. Dungeons & Dragons is an adventure role-playing game, where you play adventurers that go down into a dungeon for adventure, and part of that adventure is that death lurks around, could possibly be lurking around every corner to take you out if you do something stupid. Okay? That's all I really have to say about it. Is Dragonlance changed Dungeons and Dragons not for the good, not for the better rather, and it leads to the systems that we have today. Thank you for watching my video.